Hello YouTube, this is Stefan for Bushcraft Holland, aka Dutch Bushcraft. This is about the Dutch Army knife. And I'm not an expert on this, so this is actually more of an invitation to other people to comment and give more information about the history of the Dutch Army knife. Let me start off with my army knife. When I was in the army, 1985, I was drafted, but because I wanted to make the best of it, I became an officer. And this was the only knife we got. And this is a Victorinox Dutch Army knife. And it's similar to the soldier's knife, except it has a loop for a lanyard. For me this is very important. Also, this was the suggested method of carrying. Carry it on a string in your pocket so you won't lose it. So this was the actual one. And I got interested in the history. And I know there was a model even before 1940. But I have only seen drawings of it and I've never seen the actual knife or found photographs of the actual knife. But it was a single blade knife. And then came the Second World War and the Dutch soldiers didn't have a knife. So they relied heavily on the British Army knife, like this one. And there's a few more models also with the Marlin spike in the back. But this is a very sturdy knife. It also has the loop to carry it on a lanyard. A sheepfoot blade. And it says here, difficult to see, but 1944 W2, I believe. Yeah. So I don't know if it means this is actually from the 1944 and was used in war or not. But this was the model before we had a new Dutch Army knife. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. And then came another knife, and it almost looked like a brown leather handle, but it's not. It's some artificial stuff. I think maybe what we call here in Holland bakkeliet or something. And this one says KL63. Actually 1 year after I was born. And KL stands for Koninklijke Landmacht. That means Dutch Army. But also for Koninklijke Luchtmacht, the Dutch Air Force. Only the Marine and the Marine Corps, the Royal Marine and the Marine Corps had a KM on their knives. And this one is manufactured by a company called Amefa. As you can see, it has 4 tools. A spike. The one I was showing you was the cap lifter, the can opener. And this you might recognize is the typical cap lifter and screwdriver. And of course the main blade. Again, with a lanyard attachment. And I don't know exactly when, but in maybe 73, 74 there was a new knife and it looks an awful lot like the Victorinox Soldier, but again with an attachment for the lanyard. But this had only 3 tools, being the main blade and the cap lifter, and the new model, what do you call it? Spike. Anyway, you know what it's for. This one is still on the newer models also. And this one also made by Amefa. As you can see, well, I hope you can see on the tang. And this one is KL74. Now when they changed, I don't know, but as you can see in this 74 model, the main blade is on this side, and then came this is the 78 model, and the main blade is on this side, and it has 4 instruments now, still with the lanyard attachment. So what's new is this can opener, and this is actually the model that also Wenger uses, but this still is a Victor, no, not a Victor Inox, it's still an Amefa. So probably they were making this as a sort of in a license, because it's definitely the Victor Inox or Wenger model, but made by a different company. Okay, then in '83, when I was almost in the army, I went into the army in '85. They changed a bit. They just had the cross over here, and they had the engravement plate, which has the KL and year, KL 83. Still the same lanyard attachment and the same tools, except now it is Victor Inox, no longer Amefa. When this change happened exactly, I don't really know. Then we have, oh, I do have a number 90 somewhere here. Then in '90 they changed the attachment for the lanyard to this newer system, which actually I like less, but okay. And this has all the same implements except for this different way to attach a lanyard, but still you can attach a lanyard. That's the big difference between this model, the Dutch Army knife, and the soldier model of the Swiss Army knife, because as I understand, the soldier model has no way of attaching a lanyard. Okay, this is a 1990, this is a 92. The same features. And then they changed. Don't know exactly when, but they changed to a bigger knife. And this one has a lock, a liner lock. This one is made in '97. And the liner lock is both for the blade, the main blade, and for the screwdriver, using the same liner. And it has a Phillips head, and I believe it's called a Romer. Let's call it a small spike. And I have several of them. In fact, I have 4. But I also lost interest because they started changing again the models and the one hole opening and all kind of stuff. I believe they are all 97. So there's a good chance they changed it in '97, yeah. But I lost my interest in the newer models because it's getting too much, and I'm more interested in the history of the knife. So nowadays, I was wearing this 92 model in my pocket, but then I realized, well, okay, it's actually part of my collection, so if I lose it, it will be a shame. So I bought the Pioneer model, brand new, so if I lose this, I'll just buy another one, because they're all the same. And this has also the lanyard attachment. It's quite similar, but not exactly the same. I believe there's a very small difference in thickness, not as much on the blade, but on the can opener and the screwdriver bit. On the soldier model, the Dutch Army knife, the screwdriver and the can opener, so bottle opener and screwdriver, and the can opener versus Phillips head are just a bit thinner. And this makes the knife look a bit thinner as well. But anyway, that's just a very small difference. So this is my everyday carry knife now. And this one is back in my collection. So as I said, this is just what I know, and I don't know when they changed, or are there any more models or different versions of it. So if anybody can help me with this, please do. Comment or make your own video about the Dutch Army knife. And I do still like them a lot, except for the newer models, as I said, because they're changing too much now. I like these ones because they are very small. Oh, and actually, when I was in the army, I said to the drill sergeant, I said, "Is this the only knife I'm going to get?" He said, "Yes, this is the only knife." And I said, "What if I have to do some batoning and I break it?" He said, "Then you go back and get a new one. You exchange it for a new one." Well, that's easier said than done. If you are 2 weeks in the field, you cannot exchange your knife for a new one. So I started carrying a Glock field knife model 81 with the sawback. And I still use Glock, but now I use the 78 model without the sawback. But I carried it underneath my uniform, and I did all the heavy stuff with the Glock, and this was for all the small tasks. But of course they could not know about this, because it was actually a bit illegal, especially as an officer, to carry an extra knife with you. Okay, that's about the Dutch Army knife. Not always made by Victorinox, but the later models all are. Hope you enjoyed, and hope you can inform me about more stuff about the history of the Dutch Army knife. Thanks for now and take care. Bye bye.